said, that was good exercise. That was very good exercise. So let's have the national anthem. Let's have the national anthem. We shall now remain upstanding for the prayer.
ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم يسر لنا ولا تعسر علينا اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك نبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم إنا نسألك من خير وما خير ما جبلت عليه ونعوذ من شر ما جبلت عليه. Oh Allah, we seek your blessings in this event. As we open this court, Allah make it easy for us as we seek to give justice to those people who come to us to seek solace. Help us in these matters. Allah, tunakuomba tufanyie kwa rahisi maneno ambayo tunaletewa na wananchi wenzetu, tuwe ni waadilifu katika kila maneno ambayo inatuletewa. Wa sallallahu ala khairi khalqi Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amin.
We now have a seat. Commission. Honorable Acting Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and the Vice President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu, the Honorable Cabinet Secretary, East African Community and Regional Development, Honorable Adan Mohammed, the Principal Judge, Employment and Labor Relations, Honorable Justice Maureen Onyango, the Judge of the Commercial Court, Honorable Lady Justice Grace Ngenye, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Honorable Anna Madi, the Registrar of the Magistrates Court, Honorable Peter Mulwa, the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Nelson Harvey, colleagues, distinguished guests, magistrates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are greatly honored to have you on our grounds this day as we launch the first small claims court in Kenya. This is a day that will go down in history, and we are privileged to be part of that history. Without saying much, I would want to invite Honorable Justice Lady Grace Ngenye to also give some welcoming remarks.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Chief Justice of the Judiciary of Kenya and Acting President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Honorable Lady Justice Philomena Bete Mwilu, the Honorable CS of Regional?
Environment and here.
Good. Yes. Cabinet Secretary, East African Community and Regional Development, Honorable Adan Mohammed, the Principal Judge, Employment and Labor Relations Court, Lady Justice Maureen Onyango, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Honorable Anna Mandi, Registrar of the Magistrates Court, Peter Mulwa, Honorable, the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Nelson Harvey, colleagues present, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Yeah, it is my pleasure to be part of this auspicious occasion, more so because I'm part of the process. I do not pride myself because I'm present, but I pride myself that I'm working in the commercial division and that we can be part of the team that is going to wield the justice through the appellate process. In this regard, my lady, and on behalf of the presiding judge of the commercial division, Honorable Mr. Justice Mabea, I have his message to pass to you, that he will ensure that the commercial division, once the appellate process takes place, particularly on matters coming from the small claims court, he will ensure to expedite the appellate process. So he asked me to just ensure that you record that he has undertaken at a personal level to ensure that no matter will stall that comes from this court. It is my pleasure, my lady, to be also very glad that you have graced this occasion. It is very beautiful, it is very colorful. And one thing, when I welcomed the CS without talking much, I reminded him one time when we were at Naivasha at a conference, and also his chief of staff. And he talked passionately about easing the doing of business in Kenya. And in fact, one of the things that was rated so lowly in this country was about our justice system. And it was said that a case filed in 2000 can remain in courts for as long as somebody is earning from it. That is to say, it can take even up to 20 years. So with the establishment of this court, my lady, I believe that this is no more going to take place, and that the small claims can be heard as soon as possible, and particularly as we have had within 60 days. And CS, we assure you, as the adjudicators, as the judges and the magistrates, we shall do our part and ensure that justice is wielded very expeditiously and in a very just manner. So I will not say much at this point. My lady, allow me kindly to welcome the Honorable, the CRJ, to say one or two words. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lady Justice Grace Ngenye. Thank you for those remarks. I now wish to invite Honorable Peter Mulwa, the Registrar of the High Court, to lead in the swearing process. Registrar Magistrates Court to lead in the swearing.
Your Lordship, the Acting Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, the Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Chief Registrar, the Honorable Justice, Lady Justice Ngenye, other judges present, the President of the Law Society is present here, judicial officers present, all protocols observed. We come to a short but very solemn occasion to swear the adjudicators as required by the law so that they can assume office. Your Lordship, on the 16th of March 2021, you designated 3 judicial officers to act as adjudicators in any proceedings under the Small Claims Court Act. Those adjudicators were then thereafter gazetted under Gazette Notice number 26 of 10, 2610 of 16th of March 2021. I now have the pleasure to call each one of them to take the oath of office. Honorable Brenda Jalua Ofisi.
I, Brenda Jaluha Ofisi, having been designated as an adjudicator of the Milimani Small Claims Court, do swear in the name of the Almighty God to diligently serve the people and the Republic of Kenya, and to impartially do justice in accordance with this Constitution as by law established, and the laws and customs of the Republic, without any fear, favor, bias, affection, ill will, prejudice, or any political, religious, or other influence. In the exercise of the judicial functions entrusted to me, I will at all times and to the best of my knowledge and ability protect, administer, and defend this Constitution with a view to upholding the dignity and the respect for the judiciary and the judicial system of Kenya, and promoting fairness, independence, competence, and integrity within it. So help me God.
My Lordship, the next is Susan Gaki Gitonga, Honorable.
I, Susan Gaki Gitonga, having been designated as an adjudicator of the Milimani Small Claims Court, do swear in the name of the Almighty God to diligently serve the people and the Republic of Kenya, and to impartially do justice in accordance with this Constitution as by law established, and the laws and customs of the Republic, without any fear, favor, bias, affection, ill will, prejudice, or any political, religious, or other influence. In the exercise of the judicial functions entrusted to me, I will at all times and to the best of my knowledge and ability protect, administer, and defend this Constitution with a view to upholding the dignity and the respect for the judiciary and the judicial system of Kenya, and promoting fairness, independence, competence, and integrity within it. So help me God.
Your Lordship, the next officer is Honorable Judith Patience Omolo.
I, Judith Patience Omolo, having been designated as an adjudicator of the Milimani Small Claims Court, do swear in the name of the Almighty God to diligently serve the people of the Republic of Kenya and to impartially do justice in accordance with this Constitution as by law established and the laws and customs of the Republic without any fear, favor, bias, affection, ill will, prejudice, or any political, religious, or other influence. In exercise of the judicial functions entrusted to me, I will at all times and to the best of my knowledge and ability protect, administer, and defend this Constitution with a view to upholding the dignity and the respect of the judiciary and the judicial systems of Kenya and promoting fairness, independence, competence, and integrity within it. So help me God.
Thank you, Your Ladyship. That brings us to the end of this short session. I now invite Justice Grace Ngenye so that she can come and invite the President of the Law Society.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I had made my remarks, so I will not talk again. It's my singular pleasure to invite the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Mr. Nelson Harvey, to come and address us. Welcome.
My Lady Justice Ngenye, thank you for introducing me. Ordinarily, my Vice President from Alliance Girls, Caroline Kamende, will have been the one to introduce me. So let not the media mistake the good judge for the Vice President of the Law Society. My Lady, the Acting Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, the Cabinet Secretary, East African Regional Development, members of the bench, members of the bar, members of the press, and the consumers of justice, I greet you. Good afternoon. May I begin by congratulating the 3 adjudicators who have been sworn in to commence this task of overseeing the Small Claims Court. It is a big responsibility on your part, because you will be the pioneer of this initiative. It is our expectation that the Small Claims Court will prosper and flourish. Soon, you will be joined by other adjudicators, and it is our request, my lady, the acting Chief Justice, as well as Waziri, that you will appoint many adjudicators, and within the shortest period of time possible, if you can, ensure that we have the small claims court throughout the entire country with all the 47 counties represented. This is fundamental to me and the Law Society of Kenya for two reasons. One, it will enable ease of access to justice to the common mwananchi. And two, it will create employment opportunities to many of our youthful advocates who are ready, willing, and able to serve in the capacity of adjudicators. Second, may I take this opportunity to thank most sincerely the Cabinet Secretary for ensuring that this initiative takes foot today. It has been a long journey. Permit me to quote one legal scholar by the name of Chibaba, who has penned a judicial satire titled The Farm. He has categorized the farms into two. One is the Ivy League, and another one is the Onyalo Biro. Onyalo Biro is a European terminology that connotes better it came. It's quite appropriate that the small claims court has come, so that the Onyalo Biro practitioners will get an opportunity of earning an income while at the same time ensuring that there is access to justice. My lady, the acting Chief Justice, you may need to ask the three adjudicators to tone down a little bit so that they fit into the category of Onyalo Biro. Your Honors, when these litigants come to you to seek justice, don't be very formalistic with them. Smile a little bit. You can use whatever language they understand so that they feel at home. That way, I'm sure justice will be delivered to the basic unit of the Kenyan society. My lady, today is a tipping point in the history of the judiciary in Kenya. It is a day that we have officially inaugurated the Small Claims Court. The Act was enacted way back in 2016, and it has taken all this time for it to come to fruition. Last year, the jurisdiction of the court was enhanced from 200,000 to 1 million. I remember the Cabinet Secretary and I had to do a lot of behind the scenes lobbying, both insofar as Parliament is concerned and insofar as our membership is concerned, because many of our members felt that it was not quite right to increase the jurisdiction from 200,000 to 1 million. Many thought that the manner of representation before this court will deny them a living. But I can assure you, advocates, in tandem with my third point manifesto to increase the opportunities for you to practice, we're able to cobble a middle ground position where advocates will be able to. And there's also been provision to enable the Office of the Chief Justice and the Law Society come up with regulations to determine the manner in which you may bill when you are rendering services before this court. But I want to beseech you, advocates, the Onyalo Biro, please remember this particular court was custom made to enable the people of Kenya access justice. Earn an income, but don't burden the litigants with a hefty fee. Ensure that the call that it better came is realized by the people who deserve this court more. Lastly, Bwana Waziri, we need money for this court to thrive. We need money to hire the adjudicators. We need money to create the infrastructure for a registry here, for a registry in each and every hamlet where this court will be domiciled. We are quite cognizant of the tumult that has punctuated the relationship between the judiciary and the executive. But we are still hopeful that the executive will find it conducive for the growth of commerce and the access to justice in this country to enable this court, and not just this court, all the courts within the judiciary. Madam, my lady, the acting Chief Justice, the swearing in of the 3 adjudicators has been quite seamless and instructive. I'm reminded by those who joined the legal profession earlier than myself that during the 60s and the 70s, judges of the East African Court of Appeal, and indeed many other courts, were not sworn in by the president of the various republics. Perhaps we may need to see ways in which we may amend the constitution to ensure that when judges are appointed, they can be sworn in a manner that does not invite attrition, so that we're not limited in capacity. I have the predisposition of speaking for 2 hours, but I was given only 5 minutes. As the Law Society will be here to ensure and help the Small Claims Court prosper, we'll listen, we'll give feedback, and we'll provide the conducive environment to enable this court succeed. Thank you so much. God bless you.
My lady, at this point, let me invite the Honorable the Chief Registrar to take the rest of the program.
Thank you, Honorable Mulwa. The Honorable the Acting Chief Justice, President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, the Honorable Cabinet Secretary, East Africa Community, Honorable Judges present, President, Law Society of Kenya, together with your team, magistrates, colleagues, media, good afternoon. This is indeed a great day for the judiciary today, as we realize this huge milestone of establishing the Small Claims Court, the first ever in this country. I know that this discussion began many, many years ago. In 2016, the Act came into being, and we are realizing this 5 years later. May I take this opportunity to thank everybody that has participated as we started walking this journey, bringing us to this day. We are proud, very, very proud, to have been part of the process that has led to this great access to justice intervention. And I want to believe that as we begin, we will begin to experience justice differently with all the small claims that form a huge part of our backlog. Honorable Acting Chief Justice, I just want to thank you for pushing us so hard. I know that this event was supposed to have been done tomorrow. We had to do everything that we could to do it today, and you're very keen to ensure that this happened. So thank you very much for that leadership. I take this opportunity also to thank the Honorable the Cabinet Secretary for your partnership, for making this possible, the support that has come from your ministry. I'll just say that we're experiencing some bottlenecks with the National Treasury, but it's something that I'll take up with you outside of this event. But we do not take it for granted. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, may I also just take this opportunity to congratulate the team that has just taken oath. You are special. You are the first team in the Small Claims Court, so you'll be setting the pace and the tone for the rest of the country. Our plan is to have a Small Claims Court everywhere. So what you do will determine how far we go. So we'll be relying on you for the success of the small claims courts experience in Kenya. I want to assure you of all the support from the Office of the Chief Registrar. I know there's a lot of work to be done. I know we are immediately going to start, mining the files that fall within your jurisdiction from the registries. So a lot of work is coming your way, and I'm assuring you that you will receive all the support that you need to make that happen. I know that externally we also have a lot to do with our stakeholders, the Law Society of Kenya and the rest, in making sure that this happens. So we will provide the support that we need to provide, both internally and externally. We're just hoping that as people with small claims come to the small claims court, they will have a truly new experience, an experience that is different from the usual that we know. We hope that the complaints, the persistent complaints on delays will end. The Honorable Gitonga has just taken us through what will be happening there, and we will take you. We will hold you to account. If it goes beyond the time that you have promised us, we will have a different discussion. I hope that we don't get there. I wish you well as you begin. May God guide you as you start this journey. Just from the time of, what was it called, the poverty reduction strategy paper, the economic recovery strategy, the GJ laws, Vision 2030, all of them have identified difficulties in access to justice as having a direct link to poverty and economic development or otherwise. So for us to have this intervention, it's not just for those people that are coming here. It has a big impact nationally for all of us. So we have to make sure that it works for the interest of the national development of this country. So may I just take this opportunity to thank you all and ask that God blesses all of us. With those few remarks, I have the pleasure to invite the Honorable, the Cabinet Secretary for East Africa Community and Regional Development to come and address us. Honorable Aden Mohammed, EGH.
Thank you very much, my lady, the Deputy Chief Justice, Acting Chief Justice, and the President of the Supreme Court, judges present, of course the Registrar, the President of LSK, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of EAC and Regional Community, the adjudicators who have just been sworn in. First of all, I just want to start by thanking the Acting Chief Justice for making this opportunity available for us to be able to launch the Small Claims Court today. It is indeed, as the President of LSK mentioned, a historic day because this has been a long journey. And a long journey that was started by people before us, but we are bringing it to life and we are making it happen, and hopefully the citizens of this country are going to benefit from this. A lot of regulations and rules and laws in our country have traditionally been geared towards supporting big businesses or big people. And this is an example of actually shifting from the focus that we have given traditionally to the big corporates, big businesses, to now the smaller, medium-sized individual citizens of this country who should be getting seamless service from the government, and in this case from the judiciary. You may recall that in 2015 we introduced a new Companies Act that shifted the focus of the way companies are operated from businesses that have traditionally been large where you required an AGM, 21 days notice, you needed to have a company secretary, you needed to have X amount of minimum capital, and so on and so forth, and shifted to one which is much more friendly to smaller businesses, where you now have a one company, one person director, one person shareholder. You don't need to have a company secretary if your capital is below a certain level. AGMs are not mandatory, again, if you are a much smaller company, and so on and so forth. This is what we are launching today in the service of receiving judicial service, is again one that is shifting from a place where small businesses were commingled and mixed with big businesses who could afford lawyers, expensive one at that, who required to serve, given a certain period of time, notices, who needed to cough a certain amount of filing fees, and so on and so forth, to the introduction of small claim courts, which has dramatically reduced the inconvenience, the cost, the time it takes for justice to be rendered to small and medium-sized businesses. I'm sure you will see there is a pamphlet here that covers the jurisdiction that is covered by this court. But any commercial dispute that is less than 1 million shilling would now be part of this process, where no fees will be charged, where the number of days that you can get your issues concluded could be days, weeks, but the maximum outer limit of 60 days are stipulated in the Small Claims Court Act. This is down from a minimum of about 400 to 500 days that it used to take, as shared by the people who have had the opportunity to go through this process. So we are making significant shift in addressing the services that small businesses and individual wananchi have been suffering in the past by virtue of going through the normal court process, and now having a dedicated court that would be processed by the adjudicators to actually deal with some of the issues that they are going to raise. One of the key highlights and the key thing that we really appreciate out of this process is one that now people can self-represent. I know maybe in the other one you could also do the same, but you don't have to go and hire anybody that you want. I know the president of the LSK mentioned some lawyers and some the kind of lawyers that are members of his society, but you can represent yourself, and the need for us to lock significant amount of financial resources in court processes will now be an issue of the past. Of course, significant amount of reforms have been undertaken in the judiciary under previous leadership. The e-filing, the e-service, the e-payments are all enablers to make a lot of things easy for the judiciary to, render its services to the citizens of this country. I really want to say that, just like when you get food cooked, you have no idea how many people have cut their fingers in the kitchen and the smoke and all sorts of things that goes on. A lot of hard work and a lot of support have been received from different stakeholders. The president of LSK is a good example, where we've had a number of calls on weekends to reach some compromises to make sure that we move the limits from 200 to 1 million, and also the need to see how we can moderate the fees that may be charged. I do recall a day when the registrar and the former Chief Justice Maraga were waiting on the corridor of Parliament to see the parliamentary committee, where we had him to get to sign the waiver fee of the 1 million case. So a lot of things happened at some very odd hours and odd places, but what has been really the highlight and the pinnacle of that is the launch today that is being presided over by the acting Chief Justice, who is now making this happen. And we celebrate this day and look forward to making sure that a lot of our citizens, I am told over 65% of the backlog of our cases, court cases, relate to the small and medium-sized businesses, and presumably below the 1 million threshold that will now be the target of this small claims court. So with the number of days cut, with the fees waived, with the processes automated in many cases, we hope what has traditionally bedeviled the judiciary as huge backlogs will now become an issue of the past. Before I conclude, I just want to urge the Law Society of Kenya in particular, given the role and the contribution the government has made in waiving all the fees that relate to this, I thank him for making the comment that together with the judiciary they will look at some regulations to see what the Law Society can do in also reducing the fees that potentially could be charged to these people. And of course the need for this to be expanded by the judiciary to different corners of this country so that everybody benefits. And I want to say finally, DCJ, thank you very much for making this happen. I know we managed to squeeze this time in the midst of what has been a really busy week and weeks for you. And I just want to say thank you for making this happen. And we look forward to seeing significant improvement in the service for small claims and the citizens of this country. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Honorable CS. It's now my privilege and humble duty to invite the Acting Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu. Acting Chief Justice, please.
Thank you very much. Please, let's be seated. Let me start at the point of my Chief Registrar, one of the few people who knows how I like to be addressed. My first name is Mbete, so these other ones can wait. Honorable Aden Mohamed, Waziri for East African Community and Regional Development, together with your able team from the ministry, my sister judges here present, Judge Ngenye, Judge Maureen Onyango, my sister magistrates, Anna Madi, our registrar, the president of the Law Society of Kenya, Mr. Nelson Harvey, and your team before the state, our staff, and our clients. Good afternoon. If I say that I'm excited, it will be an understatement. If I say that I'm delighted, it will still be an understatement. But since this is not an English class, let's just get on with the business of the day. I'm very happy to be here today to launch the Nairobi Small Claims Court at Milimani, the first small claims court in the Republic of Kenya. Today's launch is the realization of a long-held vision in the judiciary and a culmination of hard work and effort across the institution with the tremendous support of our partners in the justice system and the executive. In particular, let me start by thanking my brother, the Honorable Aden Mohamed. I knew what I got myself into when I had the first meeting with him in March this year. He asked us to move, and that's all we require in the judiciary. You ask us to move we do. Thank you, my brother, for pushing us to make this a reality, both for the judiciary, for the litigants that pay our salaries, so as to enable them access justice, and for the country. My brother, your acumen in business and commerce and passion in public service to advance Kenya as a business, trade and investment hub, both regionally and globally, are well known. This knowledge and passion are reflected in the way you appreciate the vital role of our courts and tribunals in the role they play in the national economic development. Your support, particularly for alternative dispute resolution initiatives, and for, in particular, the Small Claims Court, has been pivotal and most encouraging. Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I hope we can deepen and expand this constructive relationship even further, as indeed we must, for the Kenyans and investors that we serve expect nothing less. Friends, as I have said earlier above, today's launch is the culmination of long-held vision within the judiciary and a culmination of very hard work. You heard of the meetings over weekends and stuff like that. Under Chief Justice Emeritus Mutunga's strategic vision contained in the famous JTF 2012-2016, operationalization of the Small Claims Court was an activity and a pillar one on people-focused delivery of justice. Under the Sustaining Judiciary Transformation Strategic Blueprint of Emeritus Chief Justice Maraga, and which I still have the privilege to drive, there was a priority of the implementation of the Small Claims Court. And we did the act during our time in 2016. Our first priority on the SJT has been access to justice. This commitment to establishing and operationalizing small claims courts has further been incorporated into the Judiciary Strategic Plan 2019-2023. We must therefore thank all those who have worked assiduously over the years towards making this particular launch a reality. My friends, small claims courts will be key to enhancing access to justice, both directly in terms of the expeditious determination of relevant matters, but also importantly in terms of reducing the case load in the magistrates' courts and thereby enabling reduction of case backlog in the magistracy courts. I'm told that more than 50% of the civil matters in Milimani commercial courts, amongst the busiest courts in the Republic, fall within the pecuniary jurisdiction of the small claims courts. The court has jurisdiction to determine any civil claim relating to a contract for sale and supply of goods and services and/or services, a contract relating to money held and received, liability in tort in respect of loss or damage caused to any property, or for the delivery or recovery of movable property, compensation for personal injuries, and set-offs and counterclaims under any act. The scope of the small claims court jurisdiction is illustrative of the type of impact that courts can and must have on access to justice and the reduction of caseload. Small claims courts are unique. Procedures in the court are deliberately informal, simple, and straightforward. Let's pause here. Is that what we saw this morning? Washmiwa, we picked you deliberately. There was a criteria. Now, when you go back, I'm hoping, because I already told Gisher that I want matters fixed for hearing tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, the people that come to us must not feel like they are in the formal court. They must not feel that. They shouldn't feel that. You're going to have to learn how to speak Kiswahili. You're going to have to learn to speak Kiswahili. You're going to have to learn to understand our 42 languages. And even though there will be an interpreter there, just get a grasp of everything so that we move quickly and we move informally. That is the whole reason why we created this court. So tomorrow, smile. What does it cost you? Be nice to these guys. Do you know, I know you would tell me yourselves that the first time you got into a courtroom, you were scared. I still am. In fact, I don't like that court setup. And although I'm privileged to sit on this side, I feel sorry for people who sit on that side and have to kind of like beg us. Don't let this be the situation in these small courts. That's not why we have formed them. Procedures in the courts are themselves deliberately informal, simple and straightforward. This flexibility is demonstrated in the fact that the courts are not wholly guided by rules of evidence, and it is deliberate. That flexibility is deliberate. You, adjudicators, may admit as evidence material the court considers credible and trustworthy, or credible and or trustworthy, even though the same would not be admissible under the Evidence Act. That is why you were created. Parties can also proceed entirely on the basis of documents presented to the court without having to make oral representations in court. They can come there, write those things there, the 5 forms we were told about, and they come before you and say, the same way learned counsel do, we rely on our written submissions. And within the day, you give your judgment. Courts, additionally, can allow the use of indigenous languages, what did I say earlier, by the parties during the proceedings, as opposed to English and or Kiswahili, as is the case in the other courts. If I were to speak Kikamba in the Supreme Court, as a litigant, I would require somebody to sit there and interpret. If it can be done there, let's help move this. In addition to provisions in regard to the use of alternative dispute resolution and the use of information and communication technology, the Small Claims Courts Act allows for these courts to use more inquisitorial than adversarial. This is again deliberate. Here we are not fighting. I like the idea that the case we had this morning, as soon as the respondent started saying, oh, nilikuja kwako, unajua kuko na corona, quickly the adjudicator said, kwa hivyo unakubali kwamba ulichukua hii pesa. That's how we are going to do it. Fast like that, don't waste time. In this sense, the court is more active in seeking the resolution of the dispute. President of the LSK, please remind your members that we do not want legalese here. We do not want the drama we sometimes cause deliberately. I mean, we've been there and we know when we want an adjournment, we will do anything to get it. Now, and you adjudicators, this is a point at which I must remind you that you are in charge of the proceedings. It's not counsel or the litigants. You are in charge of the proceedings. CM Gishea, I know that you have actually worked for this day more than I have. I just got involved in March. But as I said, when the minister spoke to me, I knew I had one choice: to deliver on this court. And I thank God so very much that he has made it possible for us to deliver it within the time that was expected, and that within 3 days I shall have results to report to the authority that requires these reports. So the three of you, I thank you for those long hours. Together we have done this. Please don't let us down. And I want to remind us that this has just started. We must see it through and ensure that the courts work and work effectively. COVID is still here, and that's why I refuse to remove my mask, because we were told, keep these masks on, except in terribly exceptional circumstances. Mine is not an exceptional circumstance. Please let us remain masked up. Let us wash our hands. Let us sanitize, and let us keep that required distance in compliance with what the Ministry of Health is telling us under their COVID-19 protocols. It's only together that we shall overcome this vicious pandemic. I thank God for making this possible. I thank you all for coming, and may the good Lord bless us here present, bless the judiciary of Kenya, and bless the people of Kenya. Thank you very much.
Vote of thanks, and then we'll proceed for a brief photo session.
Thank you, Honorable Acting. Do you mind if I call you by the name you love being called? Yes, thank you so much, Acting Chief Justice Mbete Mwilu. Thank you so much for your kind and wise words. I'm sure our adjudicators have heard, and we are going to do a good job. We'll give them all the support.